There's a famous saying that the Supreme Court follows the election returns. And if so, the justices would seem to be hedging their bets on the November elections because the Arizona immigration case had a little something in it for everyone. Maybe more for the federal government than for Arizona. But nonetheless, everybody got a piece of the action. Explain to us how the justices divided up this really closely watched immigration case.
Yeah, most definitely. I think this is a surface level win for the Obama administration. They overturned 3 of the 4 planks of this very controversial immigration law and left 1 standing, but in a very tenuous sense. This is the rule that says Arizona police officers will check the immigration status of anyone who comes into contact with the law. But at the deeper level of the Constitution and the Federalist architecture of American government, this was a unanimous rebuke to the Obama administration, just totally dismantling their claims. Samuel Alito called it a astounding exercise of federal authority. So it's a win and a loss, and I think the more important win is on the Constitution.
Well, Joe, I'm going to ask you to elaborate a little bit on that because I think most of the coverage of this decision is going to say that it was a fairly substantial win for the Obama administration and federal authority. Now, they did kind of liken immigration law to trade law, saying that it had important diplomatic implications and so forth.
Right. Well, there are two kind of principles at work here that no one disputes. One is that the federal government has total control over the borders and questions of citizenship, and the second is preemption, the idea that federal laws preempt state laws. What Arizona did was they tried to come at it from the bottom, say, we're going to use our own resources to enforce federal laws. We're going to create a parallel track and have our own police act in a sense as federal border and customs officials. What the court held, what the 5-3 majority of the court held, was that they flew too close to the sun. Right? They went beyond federal policy, and therefore their laws were preempted. The interesting thing is if the Obama administration had just made that case, said, look, this goes too far, they would have had an easy win. They didn't do that. What they said was, our discretion over enforcement, our enforcement priorities are what control here, not the laws as passed by Congress and signed by the president. So because Congress has total power here, they're in the catbird seat on this one. They could say, states, you are not allowed to use your resources to check people's papers, check their immigration status. They never did that.
Well, some may say that Arizona wasn't left with much other than the status check as they come into contact with the police. But you seem to be suggesting that another state, if they want to revisit this and look closely at this decision, there may be a possibility of crafting a piece of legislation, state legislation, that tightens up state control of immigration in
Definitely,
their borders.
and we've seen a slew of states copy Arizona's immigration law. I think some of those laws are going to be in question. States will have to be much more careful in how they craft these laws, very narrowly tailor them to federal law. But the idea that because the White House doesn't like the immigration rules that are on the books, therefore states are totally helpless, that claim got knocked down. And that's pretty important for protecting the system of dual sovereignty that the framers envisioned.
Yeah, well, it looks as though the immigration issue is not going to be settled by this Supreme Court case. Thanks a lot, Joe.
I don't think so. Thanks, Dan.